This episode of the Citadel Cafe is brought to you by listeners like you. Visit patreon.com/the Citadel Cafe to find out how you can become a patron and help make this show possible. This is the Citadel Cafe, episode number 358 for Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020. There's a lot of 20s in there. My name is Joel Duggan, and the Citadel Cafe is where my friends and I hang out to talk about the geeky stuff that we are into. Joining me this week is Megan Townsend. You can find her at Megan Townsend with an H on all social media that matters, as well as /O Megan Townsend on Twitch, where you have been doing some streaming. Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's been a busy week. I don't know about you, but despite being home all the time, my days just evaporate. Like, I get up, I have breakfast, I have a routine, like I do work, I take lunch, I work out, whatever that, I didn't work out today, but ultimately you touch base with a friend or like whatever that happens to be. But then all of a sudden, it's 7:30 and I haven't eaten dinner. I'm like, oh crap, I have a podcast to do tonight. I need to eat so that I can do this thing. And it's just like, all of a sudden it's like 10:30 and you're like, how the crap is like, because it's like, I know I did stuff and I don't remember doing it. It's bizarre. So I've been thankfully busier than I normally have been. So I can't complain. And you have been super busy on Twitch because like I get notifications like almost daily that you're streaming?
Almost daily. I took the last couple days off. I feel like I think I went a little too hard at first. But like after probably it's tiring. It can be tiring. And also just, my physical health is not like my health is fine, but my physical form
a lot of sitting
is just not it's a lot of sitting, and it's just I pulled a muscle, and I've just been trying to work that out a little bit. So
pulled muscles are the worst, man.
It's bad.
Makes you feel old in a hurry.
Oh my god! Like I was saying the other day, like I went to my boyfriend's place for a couple days, and I was just like a crippled old woman. And his like I was just like I needed help standing, I needed help sitting, I needed help doing the bare minimum of stuff. And I'm impressed with myself because we didn't want to take public transit just with everything going on. So I walked to his house, which is not far, but it's about a 20-minute walk. But walking with back pain is awful.
Yeah.
And he was very impressed with me. And I was like, as soon as I'm getting to your house, though, I'm changing out of my pants and into pajama pants, and I am going to sit and
lie on the floor.
Yeah, he was like, I'll get you an ice pack.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate it. But his nickname for me over the weekend became Creaky Bean. And I was like, thanks. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
That's funny. And also I would hate that too. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see, because my normal nickname is Bean.
Right.
I don't know why that kind of happened, but I'm just Bean.
Yeah, I can sort of see that.
And so now I am wow, English. I cannot speak today. Now I am a Creaky Bean.
Creaky Bean.
Took a Creaky Bean. Which is kind of, it's kind of cute. It's kind of funny. But.
I don't remember precisely what year because it was quite a long time ago, but I had a back spasm because of some swollen discs in my back that were putting pressure on nerves. And I was walking with a cane for almost a month. But
someone made that joke, and I was just like, "No, I don't want a cane. Like, I don't want to be put in that headspace of needing a cane."
Well, it wasn't a cane. Like I was using. Do you know what I mean when I say like a dowel from a closet? You know how you can take if you're not using a closet, you take all the hangers off. You can slide that dowel out. They're usually just like in grooves.
Yes.
And so I was using one of those to get around the house, and I think at the time it was my parents. My mom, I think, took me to the hospital. I can't remember, not the hospital, but like I had to go see the doctor. I'm pretty sure it was my mom. Have you met my mom? She's not a big woman, so there's no supporting me going down the stairs, right? Like, yeah. I mean, my mom's 5'2", 130 pounds soaking wet. Like, it's just not. I've been taller than her since I was 13. So, And plus, like, also, it's a senior. Like, you're not helping me downstairs because if I fall, we're both done, right?
Yeah.
So, but I was using I didn't take it into the doctor's office. I think I gave it to my mom to take to the car, but like I I needed it to get downstairs. I needed it to get into the car. Like I needed it to get around the apartment for some time. And nothing makes you feel older because I was 33, 34 maybe
Yeah.
at the time. Like nothing makes you feel older than a back injury, like a back spasm or any kind of disc issue, which is really commonplace these days with all the sitting that people do with their jobs,
Yeah.
with a lot of like
And is yours hereditary though too? Because I know my mom suffers from crippling back pain.
it can
My
be.
grandmother suffers from
Yeah.
crippling back pain. And one of the things that we're concerned about, like I know my grandmother and my mom both have spinal stenosis. I think that's what it's called. But basically, it's like a narrowing of your vertebrae, and it just puts pressure on the what is it, like the spinal column,
Mhm.
like all the nerves in your spine are basically being crushed, and that's what's and then that's directly attached to your sciatic nerve, so it's like your sciatic nerve is basically always just pinched, and there's
Right.
nothing they can do about it. So I know
Yeah.
that my mom has that, and she's like, "You might have this because I have it, and I got it from your grandmother, who was her mother." So
Mhm.
I'm hoping not because God, it's been really bad. But today we're better. Like the last couple days have actually been really good, and we're getting better. So hopefully I'll be in tip top shape pretty soon. And it sucks because I've been wanting to work out a whole bunch because I have all this free time to work out, and I can't work out, and it's actually really because I was going to the gym pretty often beforehand, and I swear I've like lost all the progress I made over the couple months going to the gym, and
Mhm.
I'm really annoyed, but it's part of me is also just happy for this time to just like take a rest of some kind. I think my body
Yeah.
needed it a little bit, but I'm looking forward to getting back into doing something anyway. So
Yeah, no, I agree. I was for a while there, and I think a lot of it, you're just processing what's going on in the world and stuff like that. Like you can
yeah,
only focus on so many things before you just have to just cut something out of the picture. And
yeah,
so I was really enjoying the gym. And of course, when the gym shut down, I was like, well, that makes sense. It's good that they're doing it, but also that sucks. I was really kind of hitting my stride. I had been back in the gym for
yeah.
6 months. I was on the verge of switching my program up, which I always find exciting. Like I rotate my program around every 3 months. Like I just change different
Which
exercises
is
and
good because apparently,
yeah.
like, correct me if I'm wrong, but you kind of get like your muscles get complacent if you continue with a program for too long. Isn't
They
that
do
right?
well. I mean, challenge is challenge. Like if you're training, if for example, I'm doing a lot of weight training. So if you're doing a lot of lifting and you're training to failure, then as long as you're training to failure, whether it's through high repetitions or through lifting heavy weight, you're going to see some sort of results. But one of the faster ways to see results is to switch things up. So they don't get
Mm.
complacent, but what they do get when you switch is they get confused, is the term that to put it in layman's terms, is that the muscles just like,
Okay.
what the crap is going on? We just got good at lifting this over your head and now you're putting rotation in the mix. Like, why are you doing this to us? And so they say, that's fine, but but they respond faster if you keep it, kind of interesting.
Keep it fresh.
But also it's
Yeah.
good for you just mentally because then you're
You
constantly
don't get
learning
bored.
new exercises. You don't get bored. It's a fun new challenge. And plus, because your body is a really complex machine, when start to train different parts of a certain muscle that has, like, say, like the shoulders, that three different heads on the shoulder, if you start to focus on different ways that those work, when you return to one of your other favorite exercises that you gave up for 3 months, you might find that you're better at it because you've got other things that you've recruited, and developed when you come back to it. So I found it very frustrating. I switched up my routine, but my routine has had to adjust to my environment. It's not adjusting to
Mhm.
my goals, which I still am mad about. It's a small thing to be, to get in your craw. But like for me, I've been lifting heavy. I've been trying to add some muscle in weak point areas. I've been trying to work on stability. I know from all the weight training that I've been doing in the gym for the last 6 months that my back is much better because of all the stabilization that you have to do when you're lifting heavy weights.
Yeah.
Like you can't just go in and go
Yeah.
heavy. You have to build yourself up to it. Well, I started smart in light going back to the gym at age 40 in September, and worked my way back up to roughly where I was probably, 10, 15 years ago when I was lifting on a regular basis. And now I've gone out of that. The only thing I have at home are 20-pound dumbbells, and I'm still too heavy to do something like a handstand push up, or like I've got currently some forearm issues with like a tennis elbow. And so I'm being careful and I'm taking care of that, but it means I
Mm.
can't do chin ups. Now I can do chin ups when everything is working right, and they're a great exercise and I love them because it's one of the heavier things that you can do at home. And it's one of the best things for you. It's a very cool, complex exercise. But when you have a forearm injury and you aggravate that by holding on to things that are very heavy, you can't do that when you're 230 pounds. Like that's
Yeah.
not a thing you can do. So, so I found it very frustrating the first couple of weeks. And I also just didn't do anything for the first 2 weeks because I just did a lot of processing information and stuff was going on. I just, I found that sleep was coming I was pretty tired anyway. I didn't necessarily need to go and do more workouts, but I've also taken the opportunity now that there's nicer weather. It's nice to go outside. I've been jogging a couple times a week again, something I couldn't do last summer because I was 15 pounds heavier and I just found it too hard on my knees and joints and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So now it's just like, oh, I can go for a jog and my time is good. Like I enjoy the jog. I'm not giving up halfway through. I'm not taking big long breaks. Like I'm not feeling defeated by it. It's challenging, but it's not messing me up in my head. And so I've
Hmm.
really been enjoying that. But it's hard because I can tell you right now that since uh, whenever the gym's closed, like clockwork, my back has been driving me crazy like the last 2 weeks.
Mine too. I feel like it's like literally within like right away is
Well,
when my back started
yeah, I
to
mean,
hurt
but
with
when
it,
you're
and it
home and
sucks.
you're staying home all the time, how often are you standing around at home? Not very often because there's
Not
lots
very
of places
often.
to sit down, right? Now, I need to get off my duff and I've been doing a lot of research on a new computer chair for both streaming and work and everything else. And I think I've
Hmm.
got something picked out. Unfortunately, the wait is about a month because of all the people ordering, home office stuff right now,
Yeah.
which is fine. But I need to pick one. Like there's multiple colors and multiple fabrics, and I can't sit on it first. I'm only going by the tens of YouTube reviews that I've watched to try and pick the right one. But
Which brand is it? A particular brand or?
yeah, Secret Lab Titan. You've probably seen them
Ooh,
advertised.
those are
They're
nice
nice.
ones.
They're a nice chair. Because here's the thing: I spoke with a number of other artists. People I know do a lot of sitting, a lot of hunching over drawing tables for a living,
Hmm.
and a number of them recommended a chair from Harman something. I don't remember that. Herman Miller. It's a $1,200 chair. Even if I had more money than I knew what to do
Yeah.
with, I don't think I can bring myself as a, kind of frugal maritimer to spend $1,200 on a chair. I'd rather put that in a down, in the bank towards a down payment on the house in 10 years. Like it's that kind of a chair is just not, that to me, I'm paying for. I'm also savvy enough to know when I'm paying for brand, and I don't need to pay a brand for something that my butt sits in. Um, but saying that, I know that Secret Lab is also a brand.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
but with Secret Lab, there's enough. Like, I don't see everyone just. Um, so there's no 5-star reviews and there's no really solid reviews. There's not a lot of like people just. What's the word I'm looking for? Championing the Herman Miller chair. But I do see quite a lot of people give multiple different gaming type chairs really positive reviews. And what I liked so much about what I heard about Secret Labs is that they're really sturdy. They've lasted people that use them a lot for a number of years. And they're also harder than they expected. And that to me is usually a good sign. Because I sit on a dining.
Like the chair themselves are
Yeah,
harder?
yeah, like no, like so. Just you sit on it, and it looks like it's going to be cushy, but it's firm, and that's
Mm.
what I like in a chair. I cannot sit in squishy stuff because my back will be very angry at me very quickly. Um, and so I mean, I sit on a dining room chair now because it's what I have
Yeah.
around. And I've tried other, $100, $200, $300 chairs from like Staples and other places where you can go and you can try them out and you bring them home. And I'll think it's comfortable. And then 2 days later, my back will be just screaming at me. Normally because they're too deep, they're too much like a bucket. Like they're meant
Mm.
for like mass produced call centers. They're not meant for like real office ergonomics. But
Yeah.
all the things that I've read about this particular chair is good. The reason why I got onto Secret Labs is because I did a lot of research in terms of like height and weight. Because much like my experience in an airplane, a lot of these office chairs are meant for the average sized office worker, not me. Not only am I a little over 6 feet tall, but I'm all torso. So I'm very tall.
Yeah, and you're a very beefy man.
Well, yeah,
Like,
I'm broad through the shoulders, and so like these little bucket racing gaming chairs, they don't work for me because like
yeah.
the neck rest is in the middle of my shoulder blade, for some sizes.
Yeah.
But the Secret Lab chairs come in three different sizes for people much bigger than me, for people around my size, and then for the average person.
Yeah.
And they don't have buckets; they have flat seats. And I thought,
Yeah.
perfect. My only concern, knowing what I know about some of the other chairs that I've bought, because I have short legs. I find, for my height, I have short legs. I find that if a chair is too deep or if a couch is too deep, I don't, I find it very uncomfortable because my back then rounds for my feet to be on the floor flat. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
like if the cushion that you're sitting on is too deep between your knees and your butt. And so the Secret Labs chair is a lot deeper than what I'm sitting on right now. Like it's a lot larger than the um, than the dining room chairs. So I'm a little bit tentative there. However, it has a lot of
I mean,
adjustments. Has a lot
it
of.
does have hydraulics. I'm actually looking at the
Oh
website
yeah,
right
no,
now.
the
Like, yeah.
2020 model has got like adjustable lumbar. Like there's all these kind of different things that you can change about it. Adjustable height, like, and that's where I'm at right now. I'm suffering, like you were saying about you're having some issues from sitting and streaming a lot. I'm having issues with like hands, wrists, and my upper back. So not my lower back so much, but my upper back because I can't adjust the height of the dining room chairs. So I don't
Yeah.
have the quite the right ergonomical setup. And so I'm
Yeah.
paying the price. Now I can do a couple things. Like it's not the most attractive thing, but I can put like, something underneath the keyboard and something underneath the mouse pad to raise to up. So I'm not adjusting the chair so much as adjusting the height of the desk and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I've been looking and doing some research, and I look like I'm going to get some Secret Labs. But just like everything else on the internet, they come in like 1,000 different colors and different materials, and it's like,
Yeah.
I thought I had made a decision, and now you're like, crap. And honestly, I've just been so bombarded with stuff lately. I just haven't pulled the trigger. In part, I've got a contract that's just about to wrap up, and I kind of want the final payment in the bank account before I spend a lot of money on a chair. Just,
Which is fair.
it's one of those things. Is like, well, if I put it on, I could put it on the Visa and order it now, or I could wait for that money to come in from the client and then just like pay off the Visa the second that I use it, so that it's not a Visa purchase; it's just a cash purchase. And I prefer to do that most of the time. So,
Right.
that's kind of where I am. But right now, the decision is the between the PLU leather, which is like a synthetic leather, or
Hmm.
the, what do they call it, soft weave fabric. I'm leaning on the soft weave because my apartment gets very warm, and I feel like the
Yeah.
soft weave
Actually,
would breathe better.
I was having a conversation about this with another streamer, and she was saying the same thing. She purposely got a fabric chair instead of a leather one because she streams in her bedroom, and her bedroom is really warm in the summer,
Hmm.
and she likes to wear shorts because it's hot. And she's like, I don't want to stick to my chair, and
Yep.
that's something I never really thought about. Now I'm more of like a leggings person. Like I don't really
Well,
wear
yeah, but
shorts
it,
really if I can help it. But
I also sweat. Like I know from being
yeah.
in this apartment for a number of years that when it gets hot in my little studio, like it's warm. Um,
Hmm.
and granted, the PLU is either to clean, like it's easier to clean that, so you can just wipe it down.
Yeah.
So you have to do a little bit more work on the software. The other thing is that the PLU comes in all kinds of colors, all kinds of patterns. There's even a Batman version. Not that I'm necessarily, again, a slave to having a symbol on my chair because I'm never going to be looking at the chair. But the softweave fabric comes in two, gray and blue, and it's like bright blue,
Yeah.
or the light gray. And I have one choice. I like the light gray. I don't like the blue. Like I don't like the blue logo stuff. And again, it's silly. It's silly. I'm sitting on it. I'm never going to see it outside of the arms of it. I can't see the chair.
I know, but
You know?
like it's also just kind of,
Yeah, I
it's
know.
fun for you.
But
It's fun for
yeah.
yourself.
And I thought to myself, like I generally go for black, monitors, you generally go for black, you tend to I go for
Yeah.
inconspicuous office furniture, But then I thought,
Yeah.
if I'm looking around here, the tower of my PC is white. it's got a panel in it. It's got bright colors coming out the side of it. The other computer equipment that I have in the studio is white or chrome or like so. Sitting here going like, wait a minute, I don't have as much black in here as I think I do, you know, and
So you could mix it up.
so I could really the soft weave could go just fine, and so I think that's probably what I'm going to do. It's that frugal artist entrepreneur. I want to finish the contract that's been delayed, and I'm almost done. Will be done tomorrow, sort of thing. Like I kind of want the check mark on that, and the invoice sent,
Yes.
and the client agreed to it, and then I'm cool with it. Then I'm just like, yeah, cool, purchase, and then by the time you get here, the money will also be here, and I'm not worried about it. And
Which
it's
is
not,
fine.
yeah, and it's not like I don't have the cash on hand, but it's just more of like, making smart decisions in uncertain times, like things like that. It's just so I will say I agonize over financial purchases that are sizable. Monitors, for
Right.
example. It took me six
I
months to pick up a monitor. You know,
100%.
you know what I mean? Like it
I
just, yeah,
100% I feel that. I've been really fortunate because I basically purchased a monitor from a friend, and we're halting payment right now, but like
yeah.
he built a computer for me and everything. And my second monitor came about because my roommate bought a new TV. They had TVs on sale at Walmart for under $400, and the TV that we had in our living room that was our standard TV is now my gaming TV. um, but I run into the exact opposite problem that you have. Like, I'm very short, but I have very long legs. So my concern with most chairs is that, like, I have to like usually hike myself up a little bit, but then I can't touch the floor because I'm an elf and I can't fit anywhere. It's like I don't know what to do. And then the other problem, the desk that I'm using I've had this desk since I think before I was born. Like, I think my parents bought this for me, like when they were like basically prepping. Maybe I was like, I don't know. I remember I've had this since I was like at least 3.
That's
This desk, and
when you and I were kids in that kind of like that 10-year span, because there's a little bit of a time difference between us, but like
yeah,
that kind of like like late 70s into early 90s, like that span when people bought furniture, they bought furniture that was going to be around for a long time. Like
yes,
I
yeah,
remember my sister, I don't know if she still has it. I don't think she does. I think they eventually got rid of it. But for the longest time, when my sister was an adult living on her own, she's now married. But when she was out on her own, she had the dresser that she had since she was an infant. Because
yeah,
as she got older, like they took the changing table off the top of it and put a mirror on it for a vanity. And then she had that through her teens. And then when she
yep,
was starting to move around and she couldn't fit the vanity in small apartments, she just took the mirror off and she had a dresser that she just filled with clothes, and then her mirror was, behind her
yep,
door or whatever. Like, so that's the kind of thing, like that's the kind of furniture that they would buy once and it would last like
yeah.
20 years.
Like, I still have the same bedside table that I had like, ever since I was 3. It's all from the same set. I got rid of the bed,
Yeah.
and there was a dresser, and I believe my parents still have the dresser at their place unless they got rid of it. But I
Hmm.
just repainted it. But it was designed to be a desk. Like where I'm sitting at it right now, I'm sitting at like in the chair that came with it. Like it's all very old stuff. But I'm at like, I'm sitting with my elbows at like chest height right now because like it's
Oh my
the idea
God.
is you're supposed to be like it's meant for writing.
Yeah.
So for typing, I feel like a little T-Rex because I'm just like all up close, and that's what's really annoying. So that's why I've been looking at getting a new desk, but at least a higher chair, like some kind of a chair with hydraulics. I don't care if my feet don't touch the floor. Honestly, I'm just used to it at this
Well, and
point.
you can also just get something because your feet ergonomically should be resting on something. Dangling is not good for circulation.
No,
So, but you
no,
can get like little angled footstools that kind of like
yes,
they're not as steep as like a gas pedal on a car, but they're same idea. Like your feet are not like square on the floor, but they're up a little bit on
yes,
an angle, and you can just rest your foot on it, kind of like a shoe shine stand sort of idea. And because I see those all
yeah,
the time in offices, because sometimes people are 5 foot nothing and they need they need a little extra.
me,
Yeah, they need a
me.
little bit extra.
The one I was looking at is just like a cheapy one from Amazon,
Yeah.
$250 or something, and it's
Okay.
um, it has a footrest built into it.
Nice.
And I was like, that'd be nice. That'd be a nice thing right now. And it would also like it also leans back really far. So if I needed to stretch my back, I could do it for that. And
Yeah.
so that's what we're working up towards right now.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah.
depending on what you're streaming, if that's the kind of thing that you're doing, like I don't stream anything that's controller based. It's all mouse and keyboard. So I tend to sit up pretty straight and tall and take breaks once an hour and stuff when I stream.
Yeah.
But if I was playing something, because I do own a couple of games that have been on sale over the last couple of years, like Assassin's Creed Origins,
Which is a great game, by the way.
yeah, which I picked up for like $15 or something at Christmas. I just like I like this.
Wow.
I like the series. I know I will eventually play it. I just haven't had the time / I haven't seen if I can use my Xbox 360 controller with my new PC. I'm sure I can. I just haven't sorted that out, and it's like one of those things where like, that's not going to work the way that I want it to work immediately, and it's probably going to be a weekend of troubleshooting. So like I've just been avoiding that stress at the moment. For those of you that don't know, I've been having a lot of trouble with my PC and frame rate issues and things like that. So I've been trying to just take it one step at a time. But when I had access to a previous tower, I would hook it up to the TV in the living room. So sometimes it was like not even a streaming situation. It would be just like, well, I just want to go play Batman, and I happen to own it on Steam instead of on console. So I'll just move the computer tower into the living room and hook it up to my TV and play it there because it's the same lean back couch experience, right? It's just all wireless controller, etc. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to doing a little bit more of that. And if you have a chair that leans back, then you can do it at your computer and not need to be up at the keyboard and mouse properly. You can have a chair that leans back, because I know that you've been playing some stuff that that has been controller based, right?
Yeah. And honestly, that's actually been easy keyboard related, because when I'm playing with the keyboard, like my arms are up so high. So with the controller, I can just rest my arms like against the table, like kind of like lean back and stretch my arms out. And it's not a lot of pressure. Like it helps me relax a little bit more. And I feel like that would just be even better with a controller, or with a better chair that will let me like lean back a little bit. And also it would help with like my camera angle and everything, because I feel like before every single stream I go in and I adjust where my face is, because depending on what chair I'm sitting on at any given moment, I have to change my face angle, and I want to because I use a face cam.
Right.
I want to make sure that I'm in frame, and then if I need to look away or look at chat or something, like I'm able to see everything but also stay visible. So that's been kind of a challenge, but we're figuring it out. I'm still like tweaking some stream settings here and there, but so far like I've gotten a lot of compliments on my stream layout so far. It's probably a little bit busier than most, but I like to make sure that people can see everything. And I recently made affiliate early.
Nice.
I think I made it end of Alistair called April 1st, but I think we made it March 30th.
Nice.
Just before.
That's cool.
And my friend Rose came in as the Hail Mary of just like, oh, I wasn't following you. Oh, I'll just follow you. And she was like the one that tipped us over into 50 followers. And then all of my friends were just like, oh, you just wanted like that big like shining moment. She was like, I mean, maybe I may have been waiting it for that, but it was really good.
That's amazing.
Good. So, yeah.
Congratulations.
Now we're just
That's
trying
fun.
to get everything. Thank you. Now I'm just trying to get everything together, like sub goals and and all that stuff. So it's slow, and we're trying to figure out what's happening. But yeah, and then so just keeping busy. Like I'm just with all this, I'm just trying to keep busy, and like I have no shortage of things.
No,
to keep me busy. Like someone asked me, they're just like, hey, do you have enough to do? Like I have like, I don't know if you want to build like a Hackintosh or something. I have like Mac parts that you can put into a PC and like, fiddle around with it. And I'm just like, oh, I'm good. I'm fine. I have so many things.
So much learning to do. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, and part of the reason why I started streaming so often was that like, you said just earlier, you were just like, I've been seeing notifications for you streaming almost every single day. It became like a way for me to schedule my day and actually know what time of day it was.
Yep. I know what day of the week it was.
Well, no, I still don't know. But thank God for Animal Crossing, because I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing. And when you first start up the game, you have a little character named Isabel, and she, greets you in a very friendly way. She's like, "Good morning. It is, Tuesday at, it is, this time on a Tuesday on this island, and whatever it is." So like, if it weren't for Isabel, I wouldn't know what day of the week it was at all. And honestly, Animal Crossing has become a problem because like have you played much Animal Crossing?
I have not played Animal Crossing. I am hyper aware of it because everybody and their dog is playing Animal Crossing in my circles right now. I don't want to stereotype, but I want to say a lot of the female Minecrafters that I follow are now also Animal Crossing
So
crafters. I'm not sure what they are. Animal crossers.
I can see.
How does that work?
Crossers of animals. I don't
Yeah.
know. And
can you crossbreed animals? If so, I'm in.
You can't, but a lot of people are just like, excuse me while I cross some animals. I'm going to be crossing some animals tonight.
I want a chicken pig.
That should be pretty funny. But I can see why a lot of people would be like, who play Minecraft would be into playing Animal Crossing.
Right.
Especially with this one. So this is the first time I've ever played Animal Crossing from the beginning. Like, again, I've been very adjacent to Animal Crossing. I've been aware of it, but the first time I ever played it was a copy that my boyfriend had on his DS, like probably about 6 months ago. He had New Leaf, which was the previous game to this one. And the idea behind the games is that they can last for a very, very long time. Like, there's seasonal events. Like, we just had a spring event with like a bunch of cherry blossoms at the beginning of April. We had like an Easter event where like, you had eggs everywhere. So anytime you try to chop down a tree, you'd also get a couple of eggs from the wood and the tree. It's a whole thing. Excuse me, I have the hiccups. But what's interesting about this one is that you're able to the premise is you want to go somewhere new. Like, Animal Crossing has always been about, you're moving to a new town, and then you have to like sort of, you're responsible for, or you're basically, you take it upon yourself by playing the game to like fix up the town. So you have parts of the town that are a little bit worn down. It's like, okay, you can invest some, in-game currency, which is called bells. So you could like collect fruit, you sell the fruit, you get some money, and then you can put that into like bettering the town. This game is really similar, except instead of a town, you are going to a deserted island. And what's different and really unique for it is that you can completely terraform the entire island. So you're kind of locked within a parameter. Like, you can't build more than 3 tiers high. So you have 3 levels. And you can build a 4th tier, but you can't climb up onto it. So you can only climb 3 tiers high, but you can build up to 4 tiers high. Everything is in like a 1x1 square. And certain things are like, you have bridges, which are 2 squares, and you have some buildings which are between 7 and 8 squares. And it's all very structured. And like, there's no like
a tile-based system.
Yeah, it is basically tile-based. And then so you have a combination of things. You have like, a house, and when you first start on the island, you're given a tent, and then you can pay off your moving fees in your tent with like, the travel miles that you've collected throughout there. And the main, what some people refer to him as the main antagonist of the game, is a little raccoon named Tom Nook.
I've heard the name Tom Nook. I didn't realize he was a raccoon, but I've heard the name.
He's like the Japanese equivalent of a raccoon, so he's like a brown raccoon.
Is he a red panda? No.
No, he would look like our equivalent to a red panda, but in Japan, the because it's Nintendo, right? So it's a Japanese-based game. In Japan, the pandas are brown with black, so they're called tanukis.
Right.
They're almost like a raccoon bear is what they're referred to as. So but he looks like a raccoon, but with brown fur instead of gray fur. So all the parts of him that are black, and like normal raccoons, but everything else is brown. Then he has 2 nephews, Timmy and Tommy, and Timmy and Tommy run their little shop called Nook's Cranny, which is the worst name of anything ever. It sounds terrible.
It's like you might as well call it like corner.
Exactly. Nook's Cranny. It's kind of clever. It's kind of cute.
He's a sad looking raccoon. Like, he looks kind of derpy.
He's meant to be like a very, very suave businessman.
Oh.
So he probably looks that way, but he's one of those guys who's just like, yes, yes, yes. So you paid off your loan. We could upgrade more if you want.
Right.
So every single time like you pay off anything, you're like, oh, congratulations, paid anything off. Was it perhaps with the desire to expand it further? Because we could do that right now if you want. We can set
Yes.
up another loan for you. So basically, like anytime you're doing like the joke is you're always in debt to the raccoon mafia. That's
Right.
the joke that a lot of people have. It's like you
Okay.
always have to pay off your loans to Tom Nook. And he charges you for everything. So like the very first time you upgrade your house, you have to pay that off. You have to anytime you want to change anything or like move a house, you have to pay for that. Like you're constantly the name of the game is to try and like get as much money as you can to do everything that you can and to pay off Tom Nook essentially. But the difference is a lot of people are just like Tom Nook, damn that rascally raccoon who's like thieving us of all of our money. The only difference is everyone's like Tom Nook is the only landlord who doesn't charge you interest
Right.
for anything. Like it's like you have and he even says it. He's just like, I mean, a loan's like a lot of it's a lot, but there's no interest to it. So you just take however long you need to pay it off.
Does he say
And there's no
that, or
interest.
is that?
Yeah, that's a line in the game.
Oh my god.
But it's very cute and it's a very chill game. Some people have gotten really competitive with it. It was really funny. Animal Crossing came out the same day as Doom. And
Right.
Doom, from the way it looks, is a very, very intense, gory game.
Mm-hmm.
And just the Twitter conversations between the Doom players and the Animal Crossing players felt very reversed, because Doom was just like, hey guys, like I know Doom just came out, we're gonna be in quarantine for a long time, just take your time with it, because it's like a puzzle game. It's like a puzzle. You have to get into a really good state of flow to play it because it's very, very fast, and there's like a routine you have to do in order to be really successful with Doom, according to my boyfriend Colin, who plays it often. So everyone was just like, just take your time. There's Easter eggs. Take your time finding the Easter eggs. Like, don't feel like you have to stress about it. And Animal Crossing Twitter it's meant to, again, Animal Crossing is meant to be very, very chill. It's like, who can craft the most expensive thing the highest? We got to go on spider hunting trips, get those million bells, like get all the money. We got to pay off these loans so we can expand. Like everyone was just losing their minds. But Twitter's also become a really interesting place, because if you have an item that you want, that like everyone gets like recipes. So as you go through your game, you'll get like little recipe cards and you can learn to make things yourself. And some things, everyone gets different things. Like my roommate has different recipes from what I have, because it's kind of randomly generated. So there was a recipe that I wanted, I didn't have, but I wanted this item for something. So someone online was just like, hey, I have these things I'm willing to trade. And I had something that they wanted. So I made a bunch of the thing that they wanted. They made me a bunch of the thing that I wanted. And then we just swapped, because you can visit each other's islands through online play. Right. So it's a very interesting game. I really like it. It's like Minecraft scaled down to a very, very small scale.
And I find it really funny that it's a game that, people can be social and go visit friends and trade goods and do all that kind of stuff, which is what we all cannot do right now. And so the game that's super chill and very cute, very visually appealing, really laid back. There's no bad guys chasing you around. Like, it's not a high stress game. Plus, it's not a money sink for real world money, but it sounds like Tom Nook has just got many ways for you to spend your hard, earned bells. And so it's like a time management, finance management, resource management game. So it's not something that has necessarily an end, or at least not a quick one. And so when you're at home and you've got nothing but time on your hands and you miss your friends and, oh, hey, they're playing Animal Crossing too, I can understand why this went from, like, I already knew it was a popular franchise anyway. Like I've heard about it before the pandemic and before everybody was home. I heard the anticipation about Animal Crossing, different E3, announcements and things like that. Yeah. But it was just like, oh, okay, now I can sort of understand it. I've only watched a little bit on Twitch. Somebody was streaming, and I don't want to sit and fish in a game. That happened to be what they were doing. Fishing in any video game is my least favorite activity.
And
Um,
see, this is the only game that I actually don't mind fishing. It's the
really?
only game I've ever played where fishing has had to be a thing, and I don't hate it because it's for whatever reason, fishing in every single video game I've ever played is just needlessly complicated. It's needlessly difficult. You have to like mash buttons in a really specific pattern. Like Stardew Valley, I hate fishing on Stardew Valley. It's the worst thing. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate. It's honestly, it makes me really angry. Evidently, but the fishing in Animal Crossing is like super chill. You just, you find a fish, you throw your line in the water, and then a fish will bob for the bait at least like five minimum of between 1 and 5 times. It will like go for the bait, and then you just hold down the A button, and I've like it's you have to not be paying attention to screw it up.
Right.
Really. It's honestly like now it can be boring.
See,
It can
this
be
is
a
why
slog.
I usually find it boring.
Yeah. And the game itself, like it is the game is entirely a grind. You are basically grinding this whole game.
Yeah.
Because the whole point is like, okay, you got to grind up more money. Okay, so we're gonna spend some time, finding bugs to sell. We're gonna spend time finding fish to sell. We're gonna spend time breeding flowers. So we gotta like plant some flowers in a certain formation and get all the rare colors, and then whatever rare colors you get more money for them. And there's a big thing where people are really into again, making money is kind of like the name of the game, really, in-game money. Um, so Tarantula Island is like the most coveted island ever because a tarantula sells for like 8,000 bells, which is a lot.
Okay.
It's a lot. It's like we'll say $8,000. And then every once in a while, you'll have a random character who will come in who will buy it for like 1.5 the value. So it's suddenly 1,200 bells all of a sudden. So it's like it's become like a strategy. It's almost like a stock market, and which brings me to my next thing because there actually is a stock market, STALK, like a vegetable stock, because every Sunday you get a little pig character named Daisy May who comes and she sells turnips, and turnips are the stock market. So you buy turnips on Sunday, and then every day throughout the week, like twice a day, so you check before noon, then an afternoon. Timmy and Tommy will buy they basically tell you what the price for the turnips are that day, and it fluctuates. And some people will only get like say for example this week I bought turnips and on Sunday they were 100 bells for me, which is a little higher than normal, but it's not bad. And then yesterday my only option for selling them was 72 bells, so that like would have been a loss for how many I had, right? But then if you like wait long enough, you might be able to get the really coveted 600 bell per turnip, which means you just make a bunch of money, and then you can use it to pay off your loans. You can do that to make any changes to your island that you want all right away, and it goes fast. The money goes so fast. But it's become like this weird little online community. Like people are like obsessively like tracking their bell prices every single day so they can know the best time to get, to sell their turnips to get the most amount of profit. And then it's and then because you can open up your town to other people, it almost becomes like a weird flex. I managed to get all these items in Animal Crossing. Look at me, I'm so cool. Like it's
Right.
because no one else can be social, so everyone's just like, I'm just gonna make. It's almost like pimping out your house. Trying to make your house look super nice with like as much as you can. It's that's kind of what it's like at this point.
I can't remember whether it was a meme that I saw or whether it was somebody talking on a behind the scenes podcast. A lot of the podcasts that I listen to, I support them, so I get their like extras. And I feel like somebody was talking about like, I thought I had all of my bells in a row, pun intended. And then I went
Yeah.
and I visited my 8-year-old's island. And then they're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Because of course
Yeah.
the kid that had a lot more time on their hands had like this blinged out, like totally badass
Yeah.
island. And like mom or dad was just like, shame. I thought I was doing okay
Yeah.
and I am not doing okay.
It's like it gets intense. Like it gets really, really intense. And like, you get to a certain point where the goal is you have like a rating system with your island. So the goal at the beginning is to get to like a 3-star island. And you get 3 stars by like how much you've cleaned up. Like when you first get there, there's like a bunch of weeds and bunch of sticks on the ground. So you basically got to clean up and make the island look nice and plant some flowers and have a certain number of people like can move into your island. So you do that by traveling to other random islands where you can get resources and random fish and rare fish. And every once in a while there's like a little villager who's like on vacation. And then if you like the look of that villager, you can just be like, hey, move to my island. And then if you have a spot open, they're like, okay, sure. And they just show up.
Nice.
And I don't know, it's become it's a weird little thing, but I've also heard some really cute stories about people who've had birthdays and during this whole time, and Animal Crossing was like their birthday party. Like they had like someone was invited to someone else's island. There'd already been like you can think you had a max 10 people on an island, like 10 like online visitors. So they invited like 9 friends, and then without telling this guy, like they went into like a room or something, into separate rooms, and like set up like a virtual birthday party for him. So he was the last one to be invited. He thought he was just there to hang out with one of his buddies on Animal Crossing, and then he showed up and they had like a fake cake, like a little cake, and with like someone had drawn like happy birthday and like custom draw like art and stuff that you can do in the game. And then a bunch of people just piled into the room where they're like moving around, and he was just like, oh no. Yeah, she's like, he got really emotional. It was really cute. And,
that's fun.
It's actually really adorable.
Yeah. Well, and this is the thing, like when you can use a platform like Animal Crossing to create social events, to make like to have that kind of a connection with another player, that's where it transcends just being a video game. What a lot of non-gamers would call like a time waster, right? Like because I find like, as much as I enjoy those kind of games, like Cities Skylines, or I was watching a new one on YouTube the other day called Foundation that my buddy Whip recommended to me. And it's very cool. Yeah. It's very similar where like you're building a medieval town, you're trying to get your food production and your stone production and all that kind of stuff going as you build the town. As your town gets bigger and nicer, it attracts more people. So when Billy, Bobby, and Sue walk by and they go, Billy, Bobby, and Sue walked by and they like the look of your town, they decided to stay. And then you have 3 more citizens that you can then make, carpenters or stonemakers or whatever you want.
Right.
And it's funny because they name them for you. I think you probably could rename them if you wanted to, but ultimately you can it's a lot easier just like let them have, Jacques or whatever name they have. And sometimes they have slightly medieval names and other times they don't. But it's just like that kind of a thing it's also really cool if it becomes multiplayer, if you can trade with your friend's town. Like, I don't know that about Foundation, but about Animal Crossing, like it brings that social element into it. My own personal experience with something like that has been back when I used to play World of Warcraft, being part of AIE, which was one of the largest guilds, if not the largest guild in the world, for a good length of time. Probably still is. A number of occasions over the course of my years there, members of the guild had passed away for whatever reason. And, you're dealing with a community that's large and has friends and very close friends, sometimes all over the planet. You can't all fly and go to a funeral. In cases like now, you can't. Funerals are essentially illegal in the current time we live in. So,
which is nuts.
I know, but to have
think about
a funeral procession in World of Warcraft, which I've seen, and I'm talking like 1,000 people, in this, to honor a friend. Like, it's really cool, and it's not like RP and being silly. Like, it's people. It just, they're using the game to connect and to communicate, where it's a platform that will allow that many people to gather together, because WoW has to support like its numbers of players, and so I've seen, things like World of Warcraft used in that capacity. And it's really cool. That's a really cool story about the friend that had a birthday. You and I both having birthdays next week. I know, how the birthday on your own feeling is going. Cause I think we were talking just before the show. I normally have people over. Like, one of my favorite things to do is to entertain on my birthday. I don't, go to bars and whatever. Don't get me wrong, I still have a couple drinks, but I just have them at home with friends, and it's cheap and it's easy, and I make a lot of food and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm disappointed that I shouldn't say not. I'm not doing it obviously next week. I'm probably just going to do it randomly at some other point in the year and call it the absent unbirthday party or whatever, and because I'll just do it some other time because I don't really need an excuse. So you mentioned a custom birthday party that had custom art. You can do custom like texture art in the game?
Yeah, so there's an app in the game called the Designer. So it's like in the game you're basically given a smartphone. So it's called the Nook phone, and you can toggle that, and in there's a custom design area, and from there there's like a couple that are given to you already. There's like three leaf clovers and vine patterns and things like that, but you can create, you can get as customized as like, redesigning the town flag if you want. Like you can make like the town theme song, town flag. But when you're fiddling around on it, in your designer, it's basically pixel art.
Okay.
So you go in and you have like, it's almost, yeah, it's like paint and pixel art. So you're kind of given like almost like it almost looks like a swatch of fabric. It's like cut into quarters, and it's got like little pink dotted lines to be like, okay, this is a pattern, and then you can go in and erase everything that's already on there and then redesign from that. So you have like different colors, like color palettes that you can pick from. You have um, paint buckets. You can do shapes. You can do like stars and hearts and circles, and
Oh,
change the
fun.
sizes of them and everything. You can do mirroring. So like if you want to do a mirrored design, like, so a lot of people have been doing custom eyebrows. The normal design of the Animal Crossing characters, like your little avatar, doesn't have eyebrows. That's like a standard design. So some
Right.
people who want eyebrows, like myself, drew on some eyebrows,
Oh, you can
and
draw it
that's
on your
something that you can.
character.
No, so you design it, and then you can choose to wear it as face paint. But it's that's what it's called. It's just like wear face paint. It's very funny.
So-
And a lot of people have also done that with beards, like because you can buy beards in the store. But one guy was just like, the beard's not big enough, so he just drew like black lines and wore it as face paint and blended it in with his beard. It's very cute. You can also do freckles, like you can like wear the freckles as face paint, but the way it blends into the skin, like it looks pretty natural. So it doesn't look like anything, atrocious. Like, my sister saw mine because my sister plays, and sometimes we'll go visit each other's island. And Emma actually did something really interesting. This is the first Animal Crossing game where you can play in one of two hemispheres. Every Animal Crossing game before was always based in the Northern Hemisphere because that's where Japan is. So people who are in Australia in the Southern Hemisphere who are playing Animal Crossing were always getting like, snow at Christmas time. And for them, that's not a thing. It's summer for them. And right now it's winter for them now.
right.
So my sister, when she was, it doesn't really tell you like Southern Hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere. When you first start your island, you can say like, what sort of island do you want to play on? And if you select tropical island, it basically automatically puts you in a
Oh,
Southern Hemisphere.
right.
So Emma chose that because she's like, I want to be on a tropical island. And then she realized, oh wait, I've set myself to a different hemisphere. But it's become really great because anytime I go visit her, she has a different collection of insects and fish because there are seasonal fish.
Right.
So if your aim is to try and like collect all the stuff that you want, if you know someone who's in a different hemisphere, you can get a larger allotment of creatures, that you can, like bugs you can catch and plants you can grow. Like certain plants only grow during certain things, and seasonal events and things like that. Like when she came to my island for the first time, it was the beginning of April, and there was a cherry blossom season because Japan typically is cherry blossoms. And she was like, "Oh, how did you get the cherry blossoms?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's spring." And she's like, "Oh, I don't have that." And then that's when we figured out that she was in a different hemisphere. So
Oh,
on her
right.
island, it's fall. So
Fall.
her weeds look different. All her characters are wearing like little sweaters because it's
Hmm.
getting colder. Whereas my characters are wearing like, Hawaiian print shirts because it's summer. Right. So
it the,
it's
so
sorry, go
so
ahead.
so the time in Animal Crossing is real time. Like days are 24
Yeah.
hours, seasons are roughly
Yeah.
3 months long, give or take. Like it's
Yeah.
operating on like real world time mechanics.
Yes, and
Interesting.
then for things that you're trying to do as well, like recently this morning, I so you can put down inclines and bridges and things like that, and 2 days ago, because this is how long it's taken, 2 days ago I put down an incline and realized, oh no, I put it in the wrong spot, so I had to wait for it to be built, and then I had to demolish it that same day, and then I had to wait for the next day for it to be finished demolishing. And then today I finally put down the proper spot for the incline, and I have to wait till tomorrow for it to be done.
Wow.
So it's meant to be like a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes.
Like the idea is this can be a game that you play for a very very long time, which is nice. Like it's a nice change of pace. I think for most games that most people are just like finish it all in one go, but
Yep.
that becomes, there are some people who I don't want to call it cheating, but there's some people who do what's called time traveling, where you can basically force the time in your Switch to be different. And
Oh,
some people will do that to, get things faster and go further in time to see what sort of like, what the island's going to look like. And those are usually content creators who are doing a lot of reporting on the game, not so much like casual players typically don't, unless they want to totally spec out their island right from the beginning. But there can be some ramifications for that. You can get like cockroaches in your town
yeah.
and you can't get rid of them afterwards, and there's like things that can go wrong. And I don't know if there's been any reports of bugs, but and there are some videos I've seen on YouTube about like the ethics of time traveling. But one thing that's like, basically a rule is that if you are like one of the like when you start buying turnips for the stock market, STALK, um it the Daisy May who sells you your turnips says, don't time travel with these, they'll go bad. Like if you buy turnips and then try and fast forward like a couple days in advance to see how your turnip prices are going to be when you come back to the normal time, all your turnips will be rotted. So it's a way to prevent people
In
from
game,
cheating
yeah. No, that's
in
clever.
game.
That's clever. That's cool. See, the experience that I have with that kind of stuff, I feel like one of the farming games I used to play, I think Farmville was real time. Sorry, not Farmville. Is it Farmville? I don't remember the name of
I don't
the
know.
silly app. Farm Together is the name of the game that I played very briefly, just kind of like over Christmas one year, just for something different and weird and cute and very similar to Animal Crossing, as a matter of fact,
Mm,
actually, in terms of visual aesthetic and like when you harvest with your tractor, you kind of drive into the middle of the field and you press harvest, and the tractor kind of does like a little hop, like it jumps up in the ground
right.
and then slams down in the middle, and then like everything around you in like a 9 by 9 area of turnips just kind of like pop out of the ground.
Right.
And then you drive over them to collect them. So it's that kind of a cartoony thing. But if I recall, you're selling all this kind of stuff for profit. So you're trying to maximize what you're growing, how long it takes to grow in real world time. And so what I ended up doing
Yeah.
was like, I wouldn't necessarily play the game very long daily. I would have a good play session, like maybe once a week, twice a week. But daily, I would log in like real quick, like check an email and just be like, harvest this, plant it all down. That takes 8 hours to grow. Just remind myself at 6 p.m. tonight to go check my, my watermelons or whatever, and then do it again. I had a similar experience with some things in Warcraft. I never really liked the farming mechanics in Warcraft, but you could do things like that that took like real world time to actually grow. And
Yeah.
the only other experience I have with that kind of thing is in Minecraft, where of course the day and night cycles are 10 minutes apiece. So 20 minutes is essentially a quote unquote 24-hour day cycle in Minecraft.
Mm,
And I know on some
yeah.
servers, people have changed that. Like when Decidedly Vanilla in their last season, I believe on their server, they changed it so it was like 10 minutes nighttime, but 40 minutes daytime because they're all builders.
Interesting.
And so by having it daytime all the time, it meant that you had less to deal with darkness and mobs and everything else. You could build longer without having to worry about going to bed, like all that kind of stuff. I don't really notice the difference. I just have a bed with me and I just drop it down, sleep, and I don't care. Um,
Right.
I think the difference now that makes it a lot easier is that in Minecraft you can click on a bed and set your spawn without sleeping. It doesn't have to be nighttime. So having a
Mm,
server that has long day cycles and short night cycles presented a challenge in that for 40 minutes you could not change your spawn because you could not sleep, right? So if you died and you were really far away, then you'd be kind of screwed. But something I find really interesting about real time games and mechanics like that, especially for an Animal Crossing game that has as many adults that I know are playing it. I also know that there's a lot of younger folks that are playing it, and I think it does create some cool time management things where it's encouraging you to not play the game constantly. Like it's
yeah.
saying, play me for 15, 20 minutes and then go do something else and then come back 3 or 4 hours later and then go do something else. I mean, I know that there's a lot to do, and I know people play it for a lot longer than 15, 20 minutes. But like, if
Oh my God.
but if your kid only gets so much switch time, tablet time, whatever that happens to be, screen time in general, then
Yeah.
stuff can happen in the background. Like while you're not doing anything, your vegetables will still grow, or like whatever it is that's happening will
Yeah.
your incline, your landscaping will develop for tomorrow. So like if you were a kid and you
Yes.
couldn't play today because you had school or whatever you're doing, when you come back tomorrow, stuff will be done. It won't be just like at the exact same point it was yesterday.
Yeah.
I know with No Man's Sky, when I was trying to grow some, I can't remember what they were called, some glowy vegetable, some glowy plant thing that was worth a lot of money. I was trying to buy a new ship. And so when I realized that these things were worth like 250, or 2,000, units a piece, I thought, wait a minute, well, let's just do the math. So if I can do this once a day and I have like 20 of these things, then that's 20,000 units per day. I can't play this game more than once a week on a weekend. So if I just log in every morning at 8 o'clock, these things take like 8 to 12 hours to grow. I'll just log in for 20 minutes, gather them all up, sell them on the market, get my 20 grand, and by the time I'm done the week, it's 100 grand in my bank account, and then I can just go buy a new ship, like just that. So that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of spitballing the prices there. I don't remember the exact numbers, but essentially it was like within a week, I just like, this isn't going to be hard at all. I don't have to grind anything. All I have to do is just log in once a day before I start my work day and just like collect all these things and do it. And I just kind of had to police myself and say like, this isn't a license to play the game for 2 hours in the morning. This is just like, it's a 20-minute check-in to just like collect and sell the things. And even 20 minutes is generous. It never took that long. It was only like 5-10 minutes.
Right. See, and the thing with Animal Crossing is like every day or every other day, I don't know exactly how it works out, but you'll get visitors to your island.
Mhm.
So there's one guy named CJ. He's a beaver, and he likes to buy fish. He's almost like a fishing live streamer. He live streams fishing, and he does like fishing tourneys, and like every once in a while there's like in-game events where they actually have a fishing tournament. I didn't participate because I was busy.
Mhm.
But yeah, like so you can do a fishing tournament, and then there's ways to get more in-game currency essentially. So like they have what are called the Nooklings, which are Timmy and Tommy, so Tom Nook's nephews. They're basically smaller raccoons. So he's a big raccoon, and they're just little, and they're really cute. And they own the shop Nook's Cranny, and they will sell things for like a base price. So like say for example, you sell a fish and it's worth 800 bells. If you go to CJ, he'll buy them for 1.5 the value. And then he has a partner, and there's some question about whether or not like they're like just business partners or like partners. But then you get is this I don't know, I think he's a gecko. His name's Flick. He collects bugs, so you can sell him bugs. So that's why Tarantula Island is such a huge draw,
Right.
because they're basically like 1,200 bells for one tarantula, which is a lot. That's like the most valuable insect I think in the whole game, and that can get you about 500,000 bells at some point. Like if you have a full inventory full of them and Flicks on your island, you can make a lot of money. So like they show up every once in a while, so it's worth it to check every single day, and you have a really generous amount of time. It's from 5 a.m. to 5 a.m. that basically like if I start my day at 10 a.m., if I check into Animal Crossing, I have until 5 a.m. the next day to like sell everything. That's when they leave.
Right.
You'll get random people who will come. They just did an update, I think today actually, where you can expand your museum to, accept art. You have a museum, so you can collect fossils and bugs and stuff, and you have everything displayed in like,
Wow. I mean, it
a
sounds really
museum.
deep. Like it's a lot deeper than
It's
I
very
thought it
deep.
was, right? Like
It's
it's not
very,
just
very
like a farm time management sim. Like it's far beyond what most people, when people look at this, they're
yeah.
probably going to associate it with a phone game. Do you know what I mean? Like with a mobile game.
Yes.
And it seems a
Yeah.
lot
And
more robust than that.
it is, but and it's again, it's meant to be a marathon, not a sprint. Like
Yeah.
you don't need to grind it out, but if you're the type of person who like, some people like to, because you have house loans and stuff, right? So some
Yeah.
people is like, I want to pay off my house loan right away. I want to pay for that incline right away. They'll just like grind out fishing. So for example, CJ is in my town today, so I'm gonna just spend a lot of time fishing, and then I'll just sell him all of my fish, and he's there all day. So if I get a full inventory of fish and then take it back to him and then keep going back and forth, I can just rack up a bunch of money because he just hangs out all day. And it's the same thing with Flick. Like if you're just going around, you just catch random bugs, you just take him to him and he'll just buy all your bugs. So it's an interesting game. Like I never, I think I said this before, but I never understood the draw of it, and now I do. Now that I'm in it and I cannot put it down. Like last night I was like, oops, it's 1 a.m.
Oh, right.
and I'm still playing. Like I picked it up and I was just like, well, 1 a.m. I'm still playing this game.
I've done that with
And
Minecraft
that's
before when I'm not streaming, because
yeah,
streaming you'll get
yeah,
tired, but and you'll get tired playing Minecraft. But when you've got a project, especially if it's something that does not require a lot of brain power, like you're just digging a big hole, you're clearing out an area for a future project, I
mm-hmm.
will just be like, yeah, this is very satisfying. And this is like, no, I just want to get this done. Like I'm not necessarily. It's not like I'm not having fun, because at that point, obviously, I stopped playing. But it's just like I just want to see this through because of the satisfaction of like checking that thing off before I go. And then you'll finish and be
Yeah.
like, good, finished. And then you go, oh crap, it's 1:30 a.m. Like
In the morning.
this did not take the 30 minutes that I thought it was going to. Like that's kind of a typical.
Yeah.
We people that play Minecraft just laugh at people that have been not playing for very long when they go to do something and they think it's going to take an afternoon and it ends up taking like 2 weeks. It's like, yeah, no,
Uh-huh.
that's par for the course.
Yeah.
Par for the course. So what is your character in Animal Crossing? Like, are you a human? Are you an animal?
You're
Like, what?
Yeah, you're like the player characters are always humans. So that's why it's
Right.
called Animal Crossing because you're like the one human amongst a bunch of animals.
Okay.
So you're crossing paths with animals. I guess that's the
Yeah.
kind of the cute joke, I guess. Um, but it's very, I don't know. So you have like so many different options. Like you have like a clothing store that opens up. Now, like again, in the original games, you're moving to a town, so a lot of this stuff has already been established. So this is the first time in an Animal
Oh,
Crossing game where you've had as much control as you've had.
blank slate.
Like you
Right.
can control everything. Now there are a couple things you can't control. Like, so when you get your island, you can't control when you first start the game, you have an option of choosing like what kind of island you want. You're basically like, okay, we have an island getaway package. Here are some island options, and it randomly generates 4 different options for you, and you pick out of those 4, without really knowing like how big this is gonna get. Um, so then once you choose your island, then you move to the island. Um, and then you can start doing things like planting flowers and like moving all the flowers around. But the things you can't change are your airport and your resident services area.
Right.
uh, so those are fixed structures, they cannot move. Um, but that means that you have a lot of freedom for everything else, because even though the island looks pretty little, you have a lot of real estate to play with. So you can choose where you want to put the shops. Whereas in other games, you'd have like a shopping district. You can
Mm-hmm.
choose to put the shop up on a mountain if you want to. Now, they usually say it has to be accessible to all the other residents. Because every once in a while you will see them coming in and out, and it's also within your best interest as a player to make it as accessible as possible.
So you're not
Because
wasting
otherwise it's
time
just really
yeah,
frustrating.
walking across the island to go buy stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
pulling out a ladder to get to higher places and stuff like that. Um, and then, eventually you get like a clothing store, and no one's been like, as of right now, you just have the Nook's Cranny and the clothing store with there's little hedgehog sisters that own this little store. They're very cute. Everything is so cute. It's
Everything
such a
is
cute
very
game.
cute. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was watching a video before the podcast. I didn't get all the way through, but it was like a half an hour tutorial video on YouTube, and like I really enjoyed like the cuteness of everything. And I mean the characters themselves are not my style. I tend to find that kind of stuff a little bit overdone, but I really like the look of
Mm,
like the trees and the paths and the rocks and the fences, and like the
yeah.
world itself is really cool looking. It looks kind of like little toy plastic trees, but also just a little bit more alive because it's like a
Yes.
3D video game. Like things blow in the
Yeah.
wind. You got there was like a cicada noise in the summertime, and
Yeah.
like and
Yeah.
watching the seasons change. Like that's the kind of thing where I've seen it in modded Minecraft, but I wish that they had seasonal stuff in Minecraft where you get
Oh
spring,
man, me
summer, winter, and
too.
fall. Even if it was sped up, like I don't necessarily I don't think I would want it all year round. The way that they handle it in Minecraft is that biomes have different feels. So if you want to be in a winter biome, you just go fly to one that's just got snow all the time. And then when you're done, when you're bored with snow, rather than being stuck in winter, you can just leave and go find somewhere else. But
Right.
I would love it if like forests in Minecraft went through the fall season where they either lost. I mean, Minecraft trees would look pretty dumb if they lost their leaves because they'd be just stumps. Like there's no actual
Posts.
branches. There's just posts everywhere.
Just like a
Yeah,
log standing up.
yeah. So you'd have to fudge it a little bit and have all the trees in Minecraft be evergreen. In terms of like they wouldn't necessarily
Yeah.
lose their leaves, but maybe they would turn to some sort of like brown color or some sort of like gross looking thing in the wintertime and then have snow on top of them. And then in the fall they could change to different colors, and because they have different tree types in Minecraft, you could have different colored trees. Like oak could be red, birch could be yellow, depending on how they're all distributed. And some people do texture packs like that. You can change the color map of leaf blocks in the game, not for a time, but for a zone. So you could say, well, birch trees have got green leaves, unless it's a birch tree in a mountain biome, and then it'll be yellow. Like you can change the way that works because the biomes have different color
Mhm.
maps. And it's really interesting. It's very subtle, but you can really start to do stuff. And what's nice about it, because of the way that they blend the biomes now, you could have, it's not like a stark line. Like you can actually see the difference in some people's texture packs where green trees gradually go kind of off green and then sort of orange and then turn to red because you're switching from a forest biome into a mountain biome, and you can kind of
Oh,
see it.
that's really
It is really
cool.
cool. Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool to see. I need to learn more about it because it's fun. It's fun to kind of have that control. And as actually on the Citadel, where where you and I play Minecraft and we're trying to do some more stuff, it would be kind of cool for specific zones to say, okay, if you're going to play here, load this texture pack, and
Yes.
have it affect maybe the blocks that people build with less, but have it more affect the world. Like have it affect the way that grass looks or the way that hay looks, or like that kind of thing. So it's a little bit more of an environmental landscape thing than it is, because maybe if you're building some sort of like evil castle, you don't want the grass everywhere to be bright green. Like maybe you want things to look a
Right.
little bit more dead. That kind of thing could be kind of
Yeah.
fun to play with. um with with Animal Crossing, what platform are you playing on?
It's Switch exclusive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So and if
So I am borrowing a Switch from a friend because I don't
oh
own one myself.
wow,
So he's
okay.
been, but he basically was just like, we're in court. So my roommate was borrowing it anyway because she was playing another Switch title, and then she bought one herself. She was already saving up for one, but she was afraid of spoilers. So our friend Mitchell, who was very very generous, he was just like, here, borrow mine because he has multiple Switches. He likes to buy things and tinker with them.
Hmm.
Um, and so the one I'm using now is like the first ever release, and he just keeps like upgrading things because he likes to see, he's really into firmware and hardware, and he's the
Nice.
same person who built my computer and everything. And so he lent it to my friend because he wasn't going to get a chance to play it, and he already had the game. So he's like, here you go. And then she ended up buying her own, and he just once quarantine hit, he was just like, keep it, play Animal Crossing. And like he was begging me to play Animal Crossing. He's like, Megan, you should really play Animal Crossing. And I was like, yeah, I'll get there,
Oh
because I
yeah.
wasn't planning on playing it. And now here we are. And it's consumed my waking days. And I get it now.
That's funny.
I get it. And it's very cute. It just feels really good. You've played Stardew Valley, right?
No, I have not. I've seen it played.
Okay. Okay. So
I own it, but I've never played it.
okay, it's very good. I really like Stardew Valley, but one of the things in Stardew Valley that I dislike over Animal Crossing, it's very similar to Animal Crossing, um, but you can give gifts to your villagers, but if they don't like the gift, they're very rude about it. They're
Oh,
very very
in
rude
which
about it.
in which?
In Stardew
Oh,
Valley.
okay.
So you can give a gift to any of your villagers in Animal Crossing, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, thank you so much for thinking about me," and they're just chuffed. They're just so excited about it. Um, and there's one character in Stardew Valley named Abigail who is like particularly picky. She's like the goth girl of the town, so she likes spooky things like bat wings and you know stuff like that. If you give her like a turnip, she's like, "What am I supposed to do with this?" Is the response that you get from her. And so I saw this really hilarious meme where it's just like, "Wow, I certainly like it when my villagers enjoy my gifts, Abigail." because people just, get angry at Abigail for not enjoying their gifts because you're like, okay, I've made this thing, and like, like you can make like crafted wine in Stardew Valley, and you could give her a bottle of wine. She's like, what's this? I don't like this.
Yeah.
And it's like, really? Like, are you serious?
Wow.
But like, I don't know. Animal Crossing it's just so, it's so cute, and it's so like, it's so easy too. Like
It sounds like
it's
a
nothing.
cute, happy life
It
simulator.
is.
Like, you know what I mean? Like
It's a very,
yeah.
very feel good game. It
Yeah.
feels very nice.
Yeah,
And
I like I said when I was watching the video, I was like, okay, this is really cutesy. Like, dude, I can't remember what it was, but like your avatar even looks like a child. Like, even if they're an adult, they have like childlike proportions.
mhm.
And the girl, something happened in the video. Like, she either got something, she got cherries, or she was excited to sell land, or like whatever it was that the video was explaining. It was a happy moment for the character, and she did this like little happy dance where she kind of stomped her feet, like just in
Yeah.
excitement and stuff. I was like, okay, that is ridiculously cute. I can understand the
It's
appeal
it's
for so many people.
it's so sweet, and it's, I don't know, it's just, it's because it's been such a pinnacle of a lot of people's lives for so long.
Yeah.
Um,
I've actually
you know,
heard I've been listening to like some of the bonus content around some of the podcasts I listen to because I'm a patron. I'm talking like grown adults that are talking about visiting one another's island and exchanging fruit, or what fruit do you have, or like how can we make this mutually
yeah.
beneficial. But they're talking about it like they're trading stock tips. Like, it's not
And
it's
that
not
it is
shady.
though.
It's like it's water cooler talk, and they're talking about it like as serious and as like adamantly as they are talking about anything else on the podcast. Like, it is serious business. Like their
Yeah.
Animal
And
Crossing
and
time.
it really is, like you say it, you joke it, honestly it is like that, like because every island gets a different type of fruit. So like, I think the most common one is pears or apples or something.
Right.
So when I people found out I had cherries, they're just like, hey, can I come steal some cherries? And I was like, yeah, but they're worth a lot on your island, and like the aim is to try and get every single type of fruit. So there's oranges, there's pears, there's apples. You have like an in-game mom, and she's just like, she's proud of you for making your dreams, but she's, she misses you a lot, so she sends you something from home, and it's usually a type of fruit, and it'll just be like a different type of fruit from what you already have. So the goal is to try and get more fruit, like different types of fruit that you don't, that are not native to your island, that you can sell for more.
Can you then
um
plant and grow different fruit, or are you stuck with
yeah,
whatever's naturally occurring on your island?
no, you can absolutely plant more different, like more fruit. So I have a surplus of cherry trees,
Right. Because
because
that's what you
cherry was
started
my
off
native
with.
fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's when you go to random islands, there's an island called Rare Fruit Island, and Rare Fruit Island is just the, like, you have a fruit, and then you have a sister fruit that goes with it. So my sister fruit is peaches. So
Right.
any of the islands that I go to were peaches. So my roommate she had pears, and I think I don't know, her mom sent her something. Her in-game mom, not her real mom,
Yeah.
sent her something. I feel like that's an important thing to distinguish.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember what it was. And then her sister fruit was something else entirely. So when I was just like, peaches for my island, she was like, oh my God, like, can you get me some peaches? And I so got her some peaches. And, so it's become like a trade. And there are certain recipes that she has that I don't have. And,
Nice.
even my boyfriend Colin, who, was on the same island as I am, he found different stuff than I have. Like, he has different recipes to craft different things, and I don't
Mm,
have those yet. And we're on the same island. So
cool.
it's very intricate. But since they introduced the um, island designer feature, where you can actually change the landscape of your island, that's where the time sink comes in, because
Right.
people like to design things.
Oh
I
yeah.
think people inherently like to design stuff. I think that's why Minecraft has done so well, because
Oh
you
yep. You're
designing.
looking at someone that's
Um,
designing a modern city and a skyscraper that has taken him weeks for one building. I just haven't had time to do that. Like, I've got podcasting, I've got leaky
yeah,
windows, there's all kinds of stuff happening in life right now that is just kind of keeping me from getting to the things that are on the adult scale. They're at the bottom of the list because like
yeah,
I have to do all the other things first. But yeah, I'm a little jealous of the Animal Crossing, I have to say, because as much as I like Minecraft, and because it is part of my podcasting world, and part of what I do now for a living, really, it tends to be my immediate go-to when I play games, and I have access to other games, and I like them, but I don't necessarily get to play them that often. And I really remember enjoying like the puzzle and problem solving of Farm Together, of like, figuring out how do I unlock a tractor? Once I have a tractor, how do I afford gas?
Yeah.
Okay, I have to have a quick turnover crop to buy gas when I need it, and then I have to have a slow turnover crop for like the big bank account, like for buying new buildings and for doing that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
and like you said, I like to design things, and so I get real nitty gritty about like things I'm designing. I think it pays off in the end. I think one of the reasons why I like so much, what I've built in Minecraft is because I take the time to design things. But that's what I do professionally. I'm a designer. I really like that kind of stuff. Um, I have this kind of like love hate relationship with games that have a lot of prefab stuff. So unless there's a lot of options, I tend to get really kind of stuck. Like I am often in Minecraft being stuck with like blocks not being the way that I want them or the size that I want them or whatever.
Mm.
Very often it's usually like slabs and stairs and like that kind of stuff that becomes a problem. But in other games, like in No Man's Sky, when because you can build your base, but you're dealing with a bunch of prefab modules. Most of them are like, 4 by 4 meters wide, like they're big chunks of building. And you've got three different options: wood, glass, and like concrete. And so wood immediately does
Oh,
not look
interesting.
sci-fi. Like you just like you put it down and it looks like a log cabin. It's like, why am I going to build with this with my spaceship? Like no. And so
Yeah.
then you're down to two. Now some stuff looks really cool. Like there's some underwater modules and they're tubular and so like they look really cool. But then on the flip side, you get into a factory building game like Satisfactory, and the building parts are pretty rudimentary, but it's the way that you can combine things and kind of like move things around that kind of add to it later on. Like there's I haven't gotten that far in Satisfactory. Where it's with No Man's Sky, I've unlocked a lot of the building palettes, and so you can kind of see what's coming. But with Satisfactory, because I'm new to the game and I don't like spoilers, so I kind of haven't really watched a lot. When people in videos I watch get farther ahead in the game than me, I tune out because I don't want to spoil.
Mm.
Because Satisfactory has got such a good humor to it, very similar to Portal in that kind of sense.
Oh,
It's
nice.
really.
And I
Oh
love
yeah,
Portal
no.
so
I can't. I
much.
can't remember the name of the. There's an AI, like a female voiced AI in Satisfactory that guides you through, and she can be pretty sarcastic, which is like it's pretty funny.
I love it.
Yeah, and so like some of the things that you have, like upgrading your taser weapon to like essentially a lightsaber taser bat, and I can't remember what they call it, but it's akin to something like the taser humongo or something like those kind of things. I don't want to know because they're really funny when you stumble upon them. But there's all kinds of really complicated things in the game, and I do get frustrated with things like city builders and things like that. Like City Skylines was cool in that I had a lot of control over the roads and where the roads went and what the roads looked like, and I could put down some trees, but I felt like my options for trees were really limited. I think probably because I
Mhm.
didn't play very long. One thing I did like that made the city feel robust quite quickly with City Skylines was that when you build an area and you designate it, this is residential and this is commercial, the blocks will just
Right.
fill in with whatever. Like if your places people need places to live, they just start building houses. And I think you can
Right.
later on designate, well, this should be a high-rise building, and then this should be like suburb stuff. But what's cool about
Right.
that is that I don't have to build every house. They just start building and populating houses on the blocks that you tell them to do so. And so that's
Hmm.
really cool. Now on the flip side, it becomes a little bit of a problem when like, you have to build a school, but like you have one school and it looks the same no matter where you put it and what city you're building in. Now, I think there are things that,
Right.
again, people that have played that game in depth probably are saying like, but Joel, there's, this, that, thing. I've only played like 10 hours, so I get a little bit frustrated when it's like, well, I can put trees down if I want to line this park with trees, but like I only have two different trees like to place down. And so with Animal
Yeah.
Crossing, as cute as it is, like, do you get a lot of variety in the stuff that you can put down? It seems like it's getting
Mm,
pretty deep.
yeah, it is getting pretty deep. They recently unlocked shrubbery, so you can now put down like shrubs and stuff, which is I haven't gotten yet. But the trees are always going to look the same. You have two options of trees. You have either the regular trees, like the fruit trees, or the hardwood trees, which look the same, or
Hmm.
you have cedar trees, which look
Right.
like pine
Pine
trees.
trees. Yeah.
And that's basically it. You have about 8 different kinds of flowers. So you have You have my native flower is pansies, and everyone gets a different. They get a native fruit and a native flower.
Right.
I think the most common native flowers though are windflowers and pansies. So I got pansies. There's windflowers. There's roses. There's lilies. There's tulips. There's cosmos. There's hyacinths. Uh, I think that's it. I think that's it. But then you get, you can also breed them as well. So your main colors that you can actually get seeds for are like, white, red, and yellow, or an orange in some cases. Um, and then, you can breed other colors. Like, the aim is to get blue roses for a lot of people, and you have to have two red roses that were bred. They can't be like a naturally grown red rose. They have to have been bred from like two white roses or something.
Right.
And then that's how you can get blue. So it can get really complicated. There's a lot of like formulas and stuff, and it actually takes into like real like, breeding, like flower breeding, which can be a lot.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating though. It's a very in-depth game, and it's not hard, but like it makes you think about a lot of stuff. And right now of course, the aim of the game is to just design your island and to get a 5-star rating and to make it look as nice as you can. And we're only a couple months into the game, so the fact that we have
Right.
as much as we do right now is a lot. But you can unlock different items. So like your environmental items are going to be pretty samey. So like your trees are the same. You have palm trees. You can like get coconuts from a random island and plant, palm trees on your
Right.
island. But you can find random items, and there's like no limit to what kind of item you can find. Like I found someone gifted me a fortune teller set at one point, or you can get a kitchenette, and I found a couple different colors of refrigerators, and I have a rice cooker and a coffee grinder, and you can get teacups and all sorts of random things, like little fiddly things like teacups, and like larger things like a basketball net. Like recently I found a water cooler, and so there's some themed items. Like there's right now there's a set going around called like the Imperial set, which basically looks like Imperial Chinese furniture.
Right.
So you get like it has a really really stylistic design to it. And the idea is you can if you're able to collect all the pieces or something, you can make a pretty cohesive look. But there's no real guide to exactly what's in there, and it's always changing. So your Nook's Cranny shop is always going to be different every single day. Like in that shop, they sell different flooring, they sell different wallpaper, they sell different items. They sell up to 4 different items, so 2 one-time purchase items, and then they're added to a catalog that you can go and access and buy again later. But you can only buy 1 a day, and 2 like multiple purchase items. So like a bookshelf or a set of books or a tea set or something like that. And then you also have your clothing store, so you can buy outfits for your character. So I have like a full collection of clothes for my character. And like one of the things that gets you points every day is to change your clothes, like get dressed essentially, which is really
Right.
cute. And what's really funny is something I found out recently. Any item that you can open the door of will work as a wardrobe. So you can change your clothes in the refrigerator, because you can open a refrigerator and it's like, you can change your clothes in here. Do you want to do that? You can access your clothes from the refrigerator.
That's kind of funny.
So it's I think for like extreme designers who like really really different textures and things like that, it wouldn't have a lot of that. But there's a lot of different items that can make an island look very unique and very different. And then now with the island designer, you also have an option for pathing. Now you are limited on the amounts of pathing that you have. I only have and you have to unlock them gradually. You don't get them all right away.
Right.
I think I have about 5 of them so far. So I have 2 different colors of dirt. I have 2 different colors of like stone, and then like a wood and a brick, I believe. Do we even have the brick? I don't remember. But you can, make all sorts of patterns. And I've seen some amazing things that people have done where they've like, made like a cobbled walkway by putting 2 different types of stone tiling down to make it look like separate. And if you put like all the same type of tile down, it just looks like a long strip. And I've seen some people like amazing wharfs and stuff. So it's like, so you're basically given a really small option of things that you can design with like immediately on hand. but the things that people have managed to do with them, like every island is going to have some elements that are the same and like familiar items, but the way you can lay them out is completely different, and that's what I think is really cool about it, is that everyone's given the same, a lot of the same options, but it's what they choose to do with it that's
Yeah.
really cool.
Well, I mean, and that's where a
Yeah.
parallel to Minecraft comes in, of course, because everybody's got the
Yeah.
same. Unless you're using a specific texture pack, everybody has access to the exact same blocks, and it's usually
Yeah.
how imaginative are the uses for those things. So that's really cool. So
Yeah.
so if people wanted to visit your island, how would they go about to do that?
Two different ways. So you can add me if anyone's interested. I'm in Joel's Discord for the Citadel. Just send me a message and I'll answer you. Or if anyone is interested, again, message me. You can share what are called dodo codes. So it's like a one-time entry code to get into someone's island. And so if my turnips are selling for a lot, anyone who's playing Animal Crossing, I will let you know and like let people know how they can come visit me. I'm happy to trade. It's Animal Crossing has become like this fun little community, and like I've met a couple of random people who I've never talked to again, but like a random people on Twitter who were looking for specific items, and I was like, I can trade something for you for them, and would just travel to their islands and they gift me things, and I would give them the things that they wanted, and it's been really fun. It's been a nice little experience. It's a good way to interact with people without actually physically interacting. So
Nice. Very, very cool. Well, this is normally where we would put in the internet minute, but I didn't have a lot this week, and we spent the majority of the show actually talking about Animal Crossing, which I think is really cool.
yeah,
So it's an unplanned Animal Crossing special. There you have it.
here we go.
However, the podcast is brought to you by people just like you. The Citadel Cafe is 100% listener supported. If you are getting value out of the show, please consider putting a little bit of value back in. You can become a member at patreon.com/the Citadel Cafe. Joining at any level will get you an invite to the member-only Discord server. We're down a member. Last checked yesterday, we're at 19 patrons. Normally, we'd have to get one to be one more than March, but we actually need two to be one more than March to meet my goal of growing at one patron per month. So if you're interested, if you'd like to check that out, you can visit patreon.com/the Citadel Cafe. And right now, because so many people are spending extra time at home, the Barista Cut bonus episodes are available to all members, not just the Barista level. It's anyone that's a member over at the Citadel Cafe on Patreon gets access to the bonus episodes, and so you can take advantage of that. So once again, that is patreon.com/the Citadel Cafe, and I thank you very much because it helps keep the podcast going. That is everything for this week. You can find show notes about the things that Megan and I talked about this week at thecitadelcafe.com. Music for the show was, of course, composed by Kevin MacLeod. You can email the show at thecitadelcafe@gmail.com, and of course find us on Twitter and Facebook. Subscribe for free on iTunes, Android, Stitcher, and Spotify, as well as YouTube now. The archive from episode 300 and on is on YouTube. Go over and subscribe there. It's free, and plus once I get enough subscribers, I can grab that vanity URL, so it's a lot easier to find. We'll have the link in the show notes as well. Word of mouth, of course, is the easiest way to support the show. It's free. Normally, I would say poke a friend in the arm. These days, I'm saying, hey, shout across the street and say, hey, neighbor, you should listen to this podcast because it's a lot of fun. No doubt you know someone that plays Animal Crossing, so you might find this a very educational episode. So hopefully you can share that around. My name is Joel Duggan. You can find everything I am doing online, including my illustration and design portfolio at joelduggan.com. If you're interested in hiring me, then just drop me a line there. I do have a number of commissions coming in, so you might have to wait in line, which is a wonderful problem to have. So thank you so much for the people that are interested in working with me. But don't hesitate because I kind of go on a first come, first serve basis depending on what's going on. The other podcast I do is all about Minecraft. You can find that at thespawnchunks.com. And of course, I am Joel Duggan on all social media. Super easy to find. I'm going to point you towards Twitch at twitch.tv/Joel Duggan, where hopefully I will be returning once I get my PC back in order. Megan, where can people follow you online?
People can find me online at Omegan Townsend on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch at twitch.tv/Omegan Townsend. I've been taking this week off, but on Monday I'm going to be birthday stream, a full day birthday stream for my birthday. So if you'd like to come hang out with me on my birthday, that'd be really rad.
You've been listening to the Citadel Cafe, where we are fast, easy, and cheap. How much are your turnips?